Name is Alina Park. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and my whole life has been about doing exactly what was expected of me. I grew up in a very traditional Korean-American household in Virginia. Respecting your elders wasn't encouraged, it was mandatory. Disagreeing was seen as disrespect. If I ever stepped out of line, my parents didn't yell, they didn't hit, they just pulled away with cold silence, and somehow that felt worse than any punishment could have. I learned early that being a good daughter meant being invisible when needed, helpful without being asked, and quiet at all times. If there was a mess, I cleaned it up. If there was a problem, I stayed silent and smoothed it over. It didn't matter what I wanted. It only mattered that I didn't create ripples. I have an older brother named Ian. He never followed the same rules. He argued with them often, made his own decisions, moved out at 18 without a second thought. Still, he was praised for being ambitious and independent. Meanwhile, I was always the one left behind, expected to cover up the cracks he left. After Ian moved out, the house got even quieter. Holidays became tense, filled with small talk and sideways glances. Ian still came around when it was convenient, always greeted warmly. While I was judged on my hair, my clothes, even the tone of my voice, I was never the golden child. I was never the rebel either. I was just there, expected to stay there, holding everything together, whether it was fair or not. When it came time for college, I said I wanted to major in anthropology. My parents said it was impractical. They decided nursing would be better, stable, respectable, a good job for a woman. I didn't argue. I applied for nursing school and got in. Every acceptance letter felt like another little part of me disappearing. At 23, I met someone. His name was Caleb. He wasn't Korean, and he worked freelance as a graphic designer. I knew right away my parents wouldn't approve, but I was tired of being lonely. I thought maybe if they met him, they'd see what I saw. They didn't even give him a chance. Without raising their voices, they made it clear he was unreliable, not serious, not good enough for me. The disappointment hung in the air like smoke. I broke up with Caleb within a month, not because I wanted to, but because the weight of their disapproval felt heavier than anything else. I didn't cry in front of them. I just told them they were right and that I would focus on work. They nodded, satisfied. Life went on. I kept working, kept doing what was asked, never expecting anything more. Then last year, my grandmother died. She had lived with us since I was a child, and when she passed, all the responsibility of hosting and organizing the family fell on me. I wrote the eulogy, I cooked, I made sure guests were taken care of. My parents stood by and accepted compliments from relatives about how wonderful their daughter was. After the funeral, when the last of the guests had left and the house was quiet again, my mother called me into the kitchen. She spoke like she was giving instructions for a grocery list. It's your time now. We expect you to take care of us when we're old. There was no discussion, no hesitation, just expectation. That night, lying in bed, I realized something. It wasn't rage or sadness. It was a deep, empty certainty. I understood in a way I hadn't before. No matter what I did, their approval would always be conditional. Their love would always come at a price I was tired of paying. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to rebel. I wasn't going to cut them off. I wasn't even going to argue. I would become the daughter they had raised me to be, the one who obeyed every command, who never asked for more, who did exactly what was expected, and not a bit beyond that. If they needed me to show up, I would show up. If they needed me to drive them somewhere, I would drive them. If they needed paperwork filled out, I would do it. But gone were the days of guessing what they needed before they asked. Gone were the days of pouring myself out trying to please them without being told. No extra favors. No emotional labor. No initiative. They told me to be obedient, so I would be. Perfectly. Exactly. Nothing more. What followed wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive, but it changed everything, and it started the slow unraveling of the life they thought they controlled. I never intended for it to escalate the way it did, but when you stop giving more than you are asked, people start noticing. And when they realize they can no longer manipulate you without